Now we are on to writing task of test 4, and this is under IELTS student book 9. First task is, generally there are two tasks. First task is here, we need to spend about 20 minutes on this task, and the graph below gives information from a 2008 report about consumption of energy in the USA since 1980 with projections until 2030, right? Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. And at least 150 words should be there. So this is a graph between uh, this quadrillion units to the projections or the year of projection. And these are various different, you can say, uh, content or products: petrol and oil, coal, natural gas, nuclear, solar, wind, hydropower. These are various resources, renewable uh, and non-renewable. So this is the information from 2008 report, which is from 1980 to 2030, and this is of USA. Projections of 2030. So in this particular case, we see that to write it, what exactly we need to concentrate on. First, we need to, in the initial phases or in the first paragraph, we have to introduce that this is the graph of US energy consumption fuel 1980 to 1930 presented in 2008, and it consists of petrol and oil, coal, natural gas, nuclear, solar, wind, hydropower. That means renewable and non-renewable sources together. Now here we see the first one. The first one is actually hydropower, and hydropower is going to decrease. They start almost at the same level, 1980, nuclear, solar, and wind hydropower, and then nuclear, it it advances, while solar and wind, it remains moreover to that limit only from where they have started or just increased, while we see that hydropower has decreased. If you come to coal and natural gas, coal started from say 16 or 17, and then it reached to say this is 30 mark, while this whole natural gas, it started from 20, and now it has only reached say 20, 23 or 24, while the petroleum, though it dipped down in 1985, it has increased up to say 45 or 46, you can take. So these are the aspects which you should see, that where when it dipped, because this is from 1980 to 2030, so you don't have to only worry about this 1980 and 2030. You have to worry about those years in between also. So where it dipped, where it increased. Here, this, for example, petroleum and oil, it dipped in these 2 years, while it increased in these 2 years, and dipping of 1 to 3 stages, increasing in these 3, and finally at 2030 it is projected to reach this mark. This is the consumption. So highest consumption will be of petroleum and oil, and the lowest consumption will be of hydropower. So as I spoke and indicated that what you have to write, let us go to an actual answer. This is a model answer, and this is prepared by the examiner, and this is supposed to be a very good answer. Means you'll get 8 and 9 band score if you write something like this. Let us see what the examiner has to say. The graph shows energy consumption in the US from 1980 to 2012 and projected consumption to 2030. Petrol and oil are the dominant fuel sources throughout this period, with 35 quadrillion, 35Q units used in 1980. See, this is 35. Then rising to 42 this quadrillion Q in 2012. Despite some initial fluctuation from 1995, there was a steady increase, and there is expected to continue, reaching 47 Q in 2030, which I just denoted that will be 47 around. Now, coming to consumption of energy derived from natural gas and coal is similar over the period from 20Q and 15Q respectively in 1980. Gas showed an initial fall and coal a gradual increase, with the two fuels equal between 1985 and 1990. Consumption has fluctuated since 1990, but both now provide 24Q. Coal is predicted to increase steadily to 31Q in 2030, whereas after 2014 gas will remain stable at 25Q. See, gas remains stable. This is stability. It remains stable. In 1980, energy from nuclear, hydro, and solar wind power was equal at only 4Q. So, as I indicated earlier, that they started at the same point. Nuclear has risen to 3Q and solar wind by 2. After slight increase, hydropower has fallen back to 1980 figure. So it is expected to maintain this level until 2030, while the others should rise slightly after 2025. Overall, the US will continue to rely on fossil fuels, that is non-renewable energy, which we call it, and with sustainable and nuclear energy resources remaining relatively insignificant. So this is a very good answer. Now coming to the writing task 2, this is this contains more words, means you need to put in more effort and words, to 50 words at least, and put more time also, 40 minutes. Write about the following topic. Every year several languages die out. Some people think that this is not important because life will be easier if there are fewer languages in the world. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Give reasons for your answer. Include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Now, this is quite a tricky, content on which we have to write. Like every year, several languages die out. This is happening. Means there are several languages. First, you have to start that there are several languages. In different countries, different languages are spoken. But now there is a trend. There is a trend that people are going or moving towards, and they are talking or choosing English as the language because this is a common language. Everywhere you go, any part of the world, English is a common language. Then some people think that this is not important because life will be easier if there are fewer languages in the world. And this is true because languages are less, people can communicate, and if people can communicate, the society will rise, the country will rise, the economy will rise. All these things you have to put in. But this is my understanding. This is the sample answer which I just showed. And a candidate has achieved band 4 score. That means the answer is not up to the mark. Examiner has given a very, not very, very favorable, you can say, ideas. So we need to see what went wrong, and we see what we can and how we can make this answer good, up to 8 or 9 band score. So first is I agree about this opinion. Nowadays several languages die out. I think this situation is right. In the world already have too much language, minimum 100 languages include small country. But we know just some languages, kind of English, French, Japanese, Chinese. At this moment we live in the world, so we need first language in the world. Therefore several languages need to die out. Also small country languages are almost difficult to learn and not useful. So we don't need to learn the languages. Even we learning this language, not using in the world, just useful this country, and we don't find small language education academy. So I think small country language makes spend money and time. Also we need first find language using all the country. This is very important for all country of developing. Afterward we decide first language, our communication will be much more easier with another country. Besides, we don't need invest another language education, and we can invest another part kind of education and culture developing by increased education money, according to this opinion. So this when I spoke or when I read this content or this answer, you might have realized that nothing is clear. Neither the English is right, nor the vocabulary is good, nor the content which the examiner or the question needs, the content which or the answer which is needed is not there at all. So this is what the examiner has to say. This answer expresses a position on the topic, but the ideas are not always clear because of the repetition and lack of development. The answer is unfinished and under length. The information is not organized coherently and it is difficult to follow a progression through the answer. Although some linking devices occur, substitution and referencings are not used and connections between the areas are unclear. The range of vocabulary is limited and repetitive and inappropriate word choices. Example, small country language invest make it difficult for the reader to follow the meaning. So these are some attempts to produce complex sentences and some grammatical structures are produced accurately. But frequent errors and omissions in basic sentence formation and in punctuation make the writing difficult to understand. So nobody can understand or take out what the writer actually wants to say or convey on this topic. That is why he has got a score of band 4, which is um, pretty in this scenario, IELTS scenario, is considered not very good. So this was about writing test 4 IELTS 9 student. Thank you so much. Take care.